Well, hello there, everyone. Here to show you the Magic Coloring Book Mika coloring activity right here. As you see right here is I went ahead and drew it like this, basically like kind of like say like an Easter activity. You say is knowing about since Easter's coming around the corner. But anyway, that you have right here of basically showing right here is that you got right here is like an Easter bunny, and I can go ahead and add right here. Go ahead and add like maybe just a maybe not too much pink, but just a little bit of red along with that. But other than that, I talk about right there, it's like say with the red, it's like I say I like type Easter bunny. Yeah, right there, as you say with the pink right here, go ahead and add just a little bit of pink right here for the nose. But you have right here is basically that talk I say for the Magic Coloring Book Mick is talking about right here. If most of us have remembered seen like say those type of coloring books before, basically that you have right here is I would hint you right here is like an example right here of like a cartoon character, and this basically right here. Yeah, I don't really know exactly about what character this would be, but let's just say that if it was like a Nickelodeon, type character, or maybe the Toons character, or anybody like that. But basically that looking at no pictures or nothing like that. But whenever I was a kid, that a lot of times that like with anybody, with most kids, that that I was into those magic coloring books. If most of us remember about those magic coloring, the magic coloring kits, and of course, the magic kits and stuff like that. Basically, like if we were to be working, say, with the deck of cards, and basically though that that a lot of times that especially the clowns, like the parties a lot of times over there, the clowns that whenever they entertain the kids a lot of times that they would have like different type of magic tricks, such as how to get the cloth to change colors, or if it's how to get the cube to transform shapes or anything like that. And one of the things that they did, one of the activities they did have is a magic coloring book. And with anybody that may say about with most of the time with the magic coloring book is you have right here is a character right here. With this character, I can go ahead and use right here and just a little bit of pink right here. Go ahead and put a little pink right here. It's like for the hair. It's like if this was like maybe like a clown type about This is a character that I pretty much just drew. Like I don't even know if it's really made up, but I just drew him. Drew this person, and I guess you say I drew it. It's basically a girl that's holding an Easter basket. But anyway, but you have right here is an example right here of like a coloring. And if anybody knows about say the Magic Coloring Book, is that a book that basically that works by the tap, by the tap of the book. And a lot of times that with most kids that they would see those, especially at like the birthday parties. A lot of times it was the birthday parties that they would go to these birthday parties, and a lot of times that the clowns would have them, for the kids to do practice tricks with them and get some practice time with them. And basically that they say that they're a lot of fun too. And of course that was like back in the older days that with the Magic Coloring Book that besides maybe the any other type of match trick coloring activities or anything like that. And I could say that like with most kids that they would probably wonder, like talk about with Magic Joe, is basically the whole purpose about the magic story of knowing about the whole purpose about magic would normally necessarily be is that anything that more likely appears. It's like appears I like say out of nowhere. It just either something that either appears or if it disappears, and it's not really about the fact about that if somebody sees something, then more likely they say that more likely it's not real magic. And knowing about it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen before your eyes. Before whenever you blink your eyes, that's whenever it's supposed to happen. But a lot of ways though that knowing about a lot of things that maybe we do see, and that a lot of times anybody probably say about it's really considered the same magic. But I have seen some things on TV that what you call like for magic regarding magic though is going about is that people that you see people doing certain type of tricks that I thought were pretty dangerous, and on the other hand that knowing about anything that we may call magic, but But so far with coloring, though, it's basically that you have right here as this character right here, and I can go ahead and that's right there is the face, and I'll go ahead and use right here is like the black. Go ahead and add like here's the black, say for the mouth, and basically the idea of basically it showing right here is the types of details that we can maybe do. It's like with the magic, it's like so far the coloring book. And a lot of times, if anybody has seen it before, like a magic wand, it's like go ahead and use right here as a ruler as a kind of example. Is whenever you tap the picture, you close the picture and you tap it, and then the colors would appear. And a lot of times, most of the times with the clowns, that they would have it to where hold a box of crayons, and then the kids would say it's like hold a box of crayons and. But those are used crayons, by the way. But go ahead and hold right there, and then the kids would wave their hand and basically that talk about say it's circus clown, like anybody who's doing the tricks. Anybody who's doing the tricks is basically talking about. It's like you have right here. It's a box of crayons, and a lot of times with this box of crayons, which these are used crayons, but you have right here is that knowing about with most of the time with the crayons, so that. If most kids would probably say that, I'm like, yeah, that with the crayons, that whenever they disappear, that they're supposed to, like what you call is like do jitty jitty ja ja or jitty jitty ja ja on the picture, and it's supposed to what you call is like you automatically appear. It's like it may seem like most of the time when people probably say about if it moves real fast and does jitty ja say on the picture, a lot of times that knowing about that it's actually doing something right before our eyes. And a lot of times though that I kept thinking about a lot of those these kits such as magic coloring books, is that knowing about right there is like say a color right there, and if I want to go ahead and add like say a darker blend to it, maybe do that too. Use to say the crayon, but anyway, but with most magic coloring books, so magic coloring kits, knowing a number of things that are done within a matter of seconds, and I'm thinking though that I can remember whenever I was a kid that I wanted to go ahead and buy a box of crayons and maybe a magic coloring book, but just knowing about where to find them. And with anybody that may say, I'm like, yeah, that I'm sure there are companies, around that maybe sell, the type of coloring books, such as, that I don't know if I can really name a company in general, but let's just say, take a, Tispo Cayenne or something, Tapo Cayenne, or it's like any type of Crayola type company that may sell the type of coloring books. But basically, here right here is a character right here. I went ahead and drew, and then I add like I'll go ahead and add right here is a yellow. And let's just say that I can use a yellow right here as example right here. And I was thinking also with any kids we may be thinking about is like with the magic coloring book is knowing about that if you're going to have a type of coloring book, and if anybody that may say, I'm like, yeah, magic coloring books are basically that you see a picture of black and white, it's like type of an outline, you type of draw the picture to where you see the outline of the picture, and basically that you're supposed to use like the crayons. You're supposed to use the crayons to kind of draw the outline of the picture. You got right here is a bunny rabbit, but so it represent. It's like I can tell anybody here that this coloring book could is basically about Easter, but I'm sure there's several other. There's probably between thousands and maybe millions of different coloring books that you can probably buy that represent if it's that special cartoon that occasion, or if it's that holiday, special holiday, or anything like that. But I'm gonna I'm just using right here. And some examples right here based on Easter, and of course it could be about almost anything really. I like that, but basically the whole topic about is talking about say with the magic coloring book, and what I'm doing right here is basically showing right here of knowing about some pictures right here, and ever since I was a kid that I actually wanted to have a magic coloring book, something that I can actually practice with, because I can tell anybody here that I was real, pretty big on magic, those couple of years ago. That I wanted to buy a magic coloring book, and I can tell anybody here that with most of the time with most parents, if you were to buy a magic coloring book at like the store, then more likely that that the chances are that with most coloring books that you maybe find one for about maybe less than maybe $8 to $20 or so dollars, for a magic coloring book, for one of those high quality, type books that one of them, it's like talk about, say, anybody probably say about so far as magic, it's like so far as voila. But other than that, like talking about right here, I'm talking, say, so far as this magic, that the top about is the magic story of showing right here. And I can go ahead and use like see the metallic coloring right here. That go ahead and add, let's say, metallic. But I guess the whole purpose about magic that a lot of times with most magic coloring books that they usually say that if you tap on the picture, tap on the book, you have it closed, and then the pictures would get colored for you within seconds. They would all be colored and all be displayed as like the story goes on, to where that all looks really firm printed, just like if it was actually ink printed from a printer. But in a lot of ways, though, that I really think, though, that that with most of the time with most magic, with magic kits, that knowing about that, you may be surprised about what you see by doing, and knowing about that just by like I actually started from a blank page, by the way, and I'm just thinking about. It's like to kind of draw the eyes, and of course draw the hair, and then the neck, and then of course you say you got right here's the T-shirt. But other than that, drawing these other details right here of this character, and did all freehand. Yeah, I'm not really a person who traces, but did it freehand. But a lot of times, though, that anybody probably think about, I'm like, yeah, they ain't that the whole meaning about magic. Ain't the whole meaning about magic is whenever that you're supposed to tap on the book, and then it's supposed to, the colors are supposed to appear. It's all a matter of between when things appear and when they disappear. But in a lot of ways, that the whole meaning about the magic coloring book that I always thought about, I wanted one when I was a kid, and I'm sure with most kids would probably say about where can you find them. I'm like if you want to get a magic coloring book whenever you were young, and I kept looking around at other places like retail stores, and I couldn't find too many of the same magic coloring books as like let's say was what the clown was showing, and basically that they may say that you may have to order them, may have to order the specific kinds from let's just say that. Got there's the face, but yeah, add a little bit of gold color for the face. But anyway, if there's a certain kinds that you can actually find at the store, and basically, or if you order them online, order them through the catalog. I think back then, back in the early 1900s or something like that, whenever I was young, that I think that they had it to where you ordered them through the catalogs a lot of times, and they say that a lot of times that that they were not, sometimes that they were not affordable. You're talking about, between $15 to $20 or so for one of those kits, and a lot of times with most kids, though, that they have like a coloring book to where that they have like maybe title, intro titles or something like that on them. Such as that if you have like something that says I can go ahead and write in general, but let's just say if you have a coloring book that has like a appearance so far as like hi, and go ahead and add right here, hi, my I'll say right here, my my name, hi, my name is Colleen or something like that. I can go ahead and use like which say for Colleen. Colleen, my name is Colleen or something like that. I like that, and I can go ahead, maybe use the same similar color. It's like let's celebrate or something like that. And a lot of times, though, anybody may think that with most of the time, with most coloring books, that they would have it to where that if you were to have a coloring book like this, that it would show something kind of like this. It's like it would automatically appear, and with most of the time with most programs nowadays that they have it to where that with most programs that you have, like I say on a PC or a Mac, that have it to where that you click a button and it would go, and basically that it would show these wordings, say on the coloring book, and a lot of times anybody probably say, but the whole purpose about the coloring book is basically about the fact about hey, that it's all about does it is it much more than just what you see by color. I might talk about that anything that you may see, it's it's all it's only for kids, all just for kids, like tricks. Tricks are for kids. You silly rabbit. Anyway, but anyway, I can still remember that commercial too. But let's just say that besides tricks are for kids, that knowing about Trix cereal, most of us are familiar with Trix cereal. But anyway, but you have right here is this character right here, and you have right here is I'll always say with the Easter egg right here. With the Easter egg, I can go ahead and use right here. I might go ahead and use this is the green crayon. Use the green crayon and draw an outline, and knowing about that. See here, use a little bit of the green marker. But basically, though, it's like like a Easter, talk about the whole meaning about magic, though. That I say for magic, magic coloring book Mick is knowing about that's a name that I picked up, knowing about since my last name. I might talk about knowing for me for Mick. But anyway, but you have right here is like example right here of like this. It could be say for an Easter egg, and I can maybe draw another one too, but anyway, the similar stuff that I'm doing like in art class is talking about is like is a shape, and of course it's like with the symmetric, like the showing the shadows and stuff like that on the egg, but and different types of Easter activities that more likely we could probably do, and basically though the whole purpose about the magic coloring book is that knowing about for how educated our kids get whenever we're practicing doing something. And a lot of times, though, that if a book is all about, it's supposed to be all about, the entertainment, or is it all about the fact about, something that only keeps them entertained for maybe an hour or two until maybe they get bored with it or something like that. But in a lot of ways, though, that I really think, though, that I, was looking for, these type of magic, coloring book, kits, such as like if it's going to be they say that Escobarate, coloring or something like that, coloring maternity or activity or something like that. The types of activities that more likely that we may learn whenever we were young. That a lot of the magic kits that we want to have whenever we were kids. But I used to always think though that ever since I seen that clown, doing that type of magic trick where we wave our hand at the clown, and then it's like, was it really necessary? But other than that, it's like you say Easter basket, Easter basket for say jelly beans, and this reminds me of a story that I could tell everybody here of a story that I actually won an Easter basket those couple years ago. That there's a coloring book, coloring activity to where it was at the gas station that they would give you like what you call is like a picture that you would color, and it would be like a character, kind of like this, but you would have like say they would be going into the garden. Apparently there was like a blueberry garden, and apparently that I was supposed to color in it's like the Easter basket. You have right here is like an Easter basket example right here, but basically that I was supposed to as like it had right there is for like a basket blueberry, kind of like this right here, but it was like a square type basket, but it was a basket that I was supposed to color in and like for blueberries, but then I added in different colors, such as variety of colors, like if they were jelly beans, if there was actually jelly beans inside the basket, but then if it said blueberries. And I can remember I spent about 3 hours doing the activity, And then whenever I turned it into the gas station, that my parents and I like that they went in and turned it in and seen that they brought it into the gas station and apparently they said that they would do a drawing, and then they checked out the prizes. Apparently whoever that won in the contest would win an Easter basket. And I can remember that thinking for whatever reason that oh, there ain't no chance I'm gonna win. Well, I probably didn't do it right, but here we are. And then I think after about 2 weeks later that I can remember that my parents, they came up to the school and they went ahead and said, I like that, hey, guess what, man? You won that contest. I'm like, I won the contest. Are you sure? So that was a real surprise to me. And knowing that I can remember that I was proud to have the Easter basket. And I can remember the Easter basket came with, like, say, with one, stuffed doll, and of course, a few goodies, a lot of goodies. I would say it was worth at least about $10 at the time. But anyway, but basically this whole purpose about this magic coloring book activity right here, basically talking about the whole purpose about magic is like for the magic coloring book, and I can tell anybody here that a lot of reasons maybe why we can't find something such as this magic coloring book could be is like in the stores, especially the kinds to where that you're able to wave to where you're able to to tap the photo. You're actually able to tap the picture and the colors just they automatically just appear or something like that. And they may have it to where that those may be you can maybe buy those at certain locations, or that there may be some certain locations, some certain areas where it's like at the store to where that whenever you buy stuff like that, you can actually buy coloring books that we can do a number of things. And I can anybody, but I say about a lot of the coloring books nowadays that you buy them and then they would come with like stickers. A lot of times that there would be stickers that you would be able to place stickers like different parts at different locations of the coloring of the photo, and the picture. And I can go ahead and add right here some more details right here. I'm like, anybody probably think, I'm like, yeah, that besides crayon, I'm like, yeah, go ahead and besides crayon, what else can I use? Besides I'll go ahead and use right here is the crayon. But anyway, but basically talk about right here of like the types of activities, the types of different things that you can more likely do with the picture, though. And like with anybody that may say that if you're talking about a picture like this and talking about the accounts of the type of coloring book to where you can, it actually does so much more other than just doing coloring with it, is knowing about if you have like say where the character maybe that actually looks like it's coming to life. Talking about, I'm like, yeah, that where the character looks like it's coming out of the picture. I can maybe kind of draw kind of like that. Maybe use a little bit of green right here. The character looks like it's coming out of the page. But a lot of times, though, I kept wondering, though, that for most kids, that they want to have practice with something like this at home. If they want to have, like, say, like a magic coloring book activity kit that they can use, such as what you call as that magic coloring book Mick is knowing about. That the things that they can do with this character, if they I don't know about drawing it by scratch, but let's just say if there was a page that already had the picture in there, but then there would be like something that worked just by the tap of the page. And a lot of times anybody that may wonder about that, there's something that works just by the tap of the page. I know about for rap tap tap, so for rap tap tap, rap tap tap, or rap tap tap. Like tap tap tap, tap tap tap, anything like that. But on the other hand, too, that knowing about with most of the time, what anybody may say, I'm like, yeah, that I could probably say that I buy a box of crayons, and then the next thing you know it, I was like, yeah, that anything that you see at school, anything if they're gonna have somebody there entertaining the kids with magic tricks or anything like circus clown or anything like that, anything that you may see there, in the classroom, whichever that's going on. They wave the magic wand or something like that. They wave the magic wand and knowing about, wave this like this and see what happens. Like a red tap tap tap, like thing, rap, tap, tap, and then see what happens. And anybody, if I say that, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go ahead and try that at home and see what happens. And anybody, if I say it, I'm like, yeah, that I've been in that situation to where if you try it on a deck of cards and then it don't work, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get it to disappear. I'm trying to get it to try to make it bigger or smaller or something like that. I'm like, it's not working. But anyway, I'm sure anybody has had their experience, and knowing about, say, with most of the time with coloring books, of like talking about, why is it that you can't find them anywhere in the store? And I'm thinking, though, that there may be some companies that have it to websites say the shoot's bigger, like knowing about how to make the character look like if they were dancing or something like that. Like I add, like, say, some effects, you say, to the shoes or something like that. But anyway, but your hair right here is that knowing about, say, for a magic coloring book, Mick is knowing about the type of character, and I can go ahead and add right here. It's like if the bunny rabbit were to have, like, say, a leg, and knowing about, something that you can maybe think about. And that's something you can think about, and you can add to, like, say, is the color. Knowing about if it had, like, say, the legs, that would spread out or something like that. Kind of like this right here. Say for the magic coloring book, Mick. You have right there is a leg right there, and I use yellow, but let's just say if there was something that you added, and if most of us have had our experience using, like, say, for Photoshop, or if it's Illustrator, or if it's InDesign, I'm knowing about the things that you would like to add, to the picture, though, is that knowing about that the things that you would like to add, maybe besides, say your cordless adapter or anything. But anyway, talking about right here, anything that you would maybe want to, it's like add, and knowing about the types of magic that you may see, of knowing about, that you add it now, and then, how do you make it disappear? How do you make it appear? Like a, magnifying glass. It's like if a magic, like a magic coloring book that will allow you to surf the web, like on a little flat book, such as you see it now, you see it then, you see it now, you see it then, you see it now, you see it then. But other than that, I talk about right here, I talk about anything that we may want to add to the bunny that uses, like, say, black and white strokes, and then knowing about the unique types of details, like to the tail. You probably want to add to the bunny as well. Exactly. Well, what did the bunny say to the paperclip? Like, one side can more likely hold more than the other. But other than that, I talk right here. It's like that's off with a Mr. Paperclip. But Mr. Paperclip. But I can go ahead and draw here as like a paperclip. And anybody may think about, like, if you see a paperclip symbol anywhere, like if it's on email or anything like that, a lot of times it usually means it's like, say, first with the attachment. I know, like really, what did the paperclip say to the bunny? Like talking about, like, can you give me treats, please? Or if it's like, so one side can more likely hold more than the other. But other than that, like talk about right here, you have right here is like, the Easter egg, and then I can go ahead and add right here is like a little bit more color right here, But anyway, I'm sure that a type of magic coloring book that I'm sure with most kids can more likely enjoy, keep them entertained for at least maybe a few hours of different things that more likely the kids can do. And I think that the whole meaning of, like, say, this magic coloring book of basically that anybody may think, I'm like, that so far as to answer the question to where maybe how come we can't find them. It's hard to find those in the stores, especially the same ones that maybe the clowns were using over there at the circus or something like that. And I really just think that maybe that it has something to do with, maybe a company, that only a certain kind of company, maybe not around town that sells it. And I'm sure that they probably say that they're probably much more expensive than an ordinary coloring book. You're probably talking about maybe between $15 to maybe $16 or so for one of those books, and a lot of times, though, that the way they work, that more likely, like with anybody would maybe say, is that they are pretty fun. But let's say that if the kid does wind up getting bored, looking at the same coloring book, and like I talk about, I'm like, that really can children really get bored over a type of coloring book that does more than just one? a number of things other than one, such as if the coloring book can actually talk, it's like so like quack 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 or rabbit rabbit rabbit, or if it can actually do it like where they can actually see 3D transformation, stuff like that. In a lot of ways, though, that I really just think, though, that with the most of the time, I think about the whole purpose about for real magic, of knowing about a number of things that maybe you can do maybe within a minute of your time, of different things that you can actually do with the stencil, I guess the stencil art, and of course with the crayons and the charcoal pencil or anything like that. That knowing about, that they are basically supposed to magically appear. Of knowing about that, I'll go ahead and add right here. It's like a gray crayon, but they're supposed to magically appear. You're not supposed to draw it like that right there. It's supposed to magically appear just by the tap. But the way I think about it, with anybody, would probably say that with most magic coloring books, is to know about that. That maybe not only are they expensive, but then they maybe only be licensed to that certain person. Of maybe that you can only find them in certain areas or somewhere like that you can maybe only find them at certain locations. You may have to order them from the company. It may not be something you can actually buy at the store. And there may be some stores that may have something like that, but then they may say that either they don't make them like they used to, or if it's that some locations that just don't have the same ones, like maybe what you saw maybe in the classroom, such as that there could be a certain version of a coloring book, such as the micro 1041 or something like that, and then the next one's going to be the 1030, the micro version, 1040 or something like that. Different types of coloring books. But so far as magic coloring book, but so far the meaning of the word, say for magic, though, is basically that anybody may say, I'm like, for meaning on magic. All about the fact about, like, that whenever things appear, whenever they disappear, a lot of times, but the things that appear and disappear right before your eyes. But I can tell anybody here, one of the reasons maybe why I got into art was to say get into this coloring book right here. It's like, there's a way for, like, say, the magic signature. It is to talk about, like, the type of signature that automatically appears. And talk about, like, go ahead and add right there's, H, for the W. But it's like for Matthew. But other than that, I talk about is like for the magic coloring book Mick. I was talking about right here of like the different things that where you can do. Or say with the magic coloring book of knowing about if it cries for reading glasses, or if it's a calculator. I'll talk about this like so far as for the magic coloring book Mick. Coloring activity. Well, hello everyone. You talked about right here is like from a magic coloring book Mick. You have right here. Basically, say a kind of example right here. I say a magic coloring book as you have right here. It's like a coloring book right here. Let's just say that it's like you close the page and then it disappears, and then it's like right here, like talk about it, and then it reappears. But other than that, I talk about right here, like with anybody that may say, I'm like, really, that's not how magic works. But on your hand, and knowing about, like, that one ways to describe, say, a magic coloring book, and basically that. I was wondering about a lot of things that you may see, maybe if it's at the school, or if it's maybe somewhere that you have the clowns to where, or whoever that has a magic coloring book, and like with anybody that may say like if you have like a ruler you have right here for a magic wand, that they're supposed to you tap the book, and then the colors appear on the pictures. And like with anybody that may wonder, like, how come you never were able to find something like that at the store? And a lot of times, anybody probably say, I'm like, hey, that more likely that they are either too expensive, or you have to order them from the company. And a lot of times, when I think like, for kids to get practice at home, it's like working with the colors and working with, say, the types of stencil arts or anything like that. And we probably think about, like, that something that that they would be able to read and write with. And basically, is the coloring book all about? Is it supposed to be much more than just coloring pictures? And I would probably say that, nowadays that with learning, that, any kids would probably say that they would like to have a book to where it would actually be able to talk and maybe play music, or, if it's, do story time or stuff like that. Like, basically, like, say the leapfrog or like, type of activities. But like basically though, that whenever I was a kid, that I actually wanted to go and try doing a few magic tricks, and a few of those magic tricks, of course, I guess one of them more likely would be like one you just seen, to where I actually did a lot of this work right here is by freehand with not looking at no pictures or nothing, but the types of work that more likely we can do within a matter of minutes, and basically that amount of seconds for knowing about, for what's considered what you call for real magic, and knowing about whenever they disappear, and then whenever they appear. When they disappear, whenever they appear. But other than that, talk about, say, with magic, it's like with the whole part, activity for, like, say, for magic kits, knowing about right here, is they have right here is the character right here. And like we say, with most kids, that they wonder, how come you can't find any of those things at the store? And basically, you may say that some stores that have them, and some of them you may have to order online. Some of them can be expensive, but I am too, to knowing about the type of magic, like knowing about what you've seen. I'll talk about this, like in the type of activity. I know what I'm saying with the, say if the magic coloring book book is knowing about what it is, knowing about, like, and for who knows, like for how it's like, to present, like talk about, for the activity. I'm knowing about, and for what we can learn, but over that top safe, that's like no hope more about education. I know about between the time and money, and of course ever knowing about the whole understanding about, say, talk about, say, with magic. So if I say the magic coloring book make coloring activity. Well, hello everyone. You talk about here is like the magic coloring book Mick right here. Basically, you have right here is a penny. If most of us can see, it's like you got right here. I got right here is a penny, and this is the type of magic trick that I did when I was young, though. But basically, you have right here. You have right here is a sheet of paper right here. You got right here is a piece of paper, and basically that you have right here is talking about right here is like for this the type of a sheet of paper, or it could be a spreadsheet or anything like that. And knowing about that, if you were to place the paper right, place the penny right here, right there on the paper, and then wrinkle it up. And basically knowing about is like with the type of, if you were to use an amount of maybe 2 or 3 say pieces, sheets of paper, and knowing about exactly about what happens to them, and knowing about, talk about this, like you have right here is the type of a piece of paper right here. And at one time, I can remember that they appear, like talk about, like if you had the penny at about right here, and then you would keep it wrapped up, like this for maybe a few seconds, and then you would see it that right where you put it, right where you put the penny, knowing about from where it was in your hand, and then knowing about from where it was on the table, and knowing like exactly that if it's still in the paper. If it's still in the paper, or more likely it could be elsewhere. But then, knowing about right here, like I talk about right here is like so far as the magic coloring book Mick right here. You have right here is a magic coloring book Mick, and knowing about exactly about is the paper, of course, is the paper still is the penny still in the paper, and knowing about that anybody may think I'm like that knowing about is that type of shape, of course, that we may see that, knowing about, like, whenever you wrinkle the paper up, and knowing you got there is a penny, say, underneath, and knowing about, the type of shape, is this supposed to be? Knowing about, like, is it supposed to be, like, say, a flower, or, anything like that? Or knowing about, the penny's still in there, I can still feel it in there, but just knowing about, exactly, about the things that more likely you can do, knowing about like how to maybe make a penny disappear, or maybe how to make a piece of paper, like so far as a sheet of paper, disappear, or anything like that. But knowing about talk about the coloring activity, talk about the magic coloring book Mick coloring activity. Well, hello everyone. Talking about here is like a guy right here is the magic coloring. The coloring crayons right here. Basically, you see right here is that once a while back that I can remember that a lot of times the clowns would show, like I say, a package, pack of coloring crayons like this. And basically, if you were to wave your hand at the clown, that basically like the type of activity, of course, that they usually do with, say, the pack of crayons. And usually, a lot of times, they say that means that the crayons, of course, would disappear. That they would disappear. I know I'm like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, really. If anybody gets the idea of knowing about, the crayons would disappear, and they're like, well, where did the crayons go? Where did the crayons go, kids? And then they would actually show it to her, and like, oh, well, there's where the crayons go, and like, when it's like in the coloring book. But anybody probably think about with the whole purpose about magic, if it's going to be like, say, the magic coloring book, Mick, knowing about a coloring book to where you can have like say different shapes and say working with pieces of paper and of course say the magic wand or if it's the ruler. I know, but it's all about the fact about it's like the please like talk about this the work safe and learn safe at home. I know, but if you're going to have practice at home of talking about the whole meaning about the whole purpose about magic and learning, all about it's like it's all about the fun and the fun and of course you say that the entertainment and of course with the family and friends and knowing about say to get to know each other. But other than that, I talk about like with anybody that may say about there maybe not be a whole purpose about what does magic usually mean and what does it actually mean, but it's basically knowing about it's like it really about the whole magic part about it is knowing about that really about what all we can learn together. But knowing about it's like knowing about is please for everybody to know and about everybody at home is knowing is like please learn and play safe at home. We talk about safe for the magic magic coloring book coloring activity.